I'm going to walk you through how to restructure your Schoology course so that we have consistent structure and language of all of our Schoology courses across Robert Eagle staff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rename that folder that you have created that has all of your activities and lessons for continuous learning in it right now. If you have not created that folder, you're just going to come up here to add materials and add a folder. Most of you have already created that folder. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to this little gear here, and you're going to click Edit, and you're going to change the name of that folder to Continuous Learning. In the description box here, a lot of you already have like a welcome video or a welcome description. We would like for you to have some welcome message for parents and families about continuous learning and what that looks like in your class. That can be either a short description or a quick welcome video. And then you'll save changes. Again, if you had not already created that folder, you're going to come up here to add a folder, and then you'll put continuous learning and add your description. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to get rid of all of the other distractors on our home page. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder, and we're going to title that folder Previous Units. You don't need any description. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move all of our previous units to that one folder. So you have two options for how to move content into a folder. You can click on the gear and you can click Move, and then you'll choose the folder where you want to put that content. So I'm choosing Previous Units, and it's going to move Unit 1 for me. I can also just drag it. Sometimes this is a little finicky, but if it isn't, it is the quickest way I find. So you just drag it to where you want it. So I'm moving all of my previous units into this one folder titled Previous Units. Okay, so if I minimize that, now my home page is really clean. All that I have here is my continuous learning folder, a quick welcome description or message or video, and then a folder titled Previous Units. That's all that should be on your home page. Now we're going to click into our continuous learning folder, and we'll structure this. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a folder titled Previous Weeks. So you're not going to have a description for that, just previous weeks. Then what you're going to do, I'm going to move this up to the top. Then what you're going to do is you're going to move all of your previous content for continuous learning, all of your previous weeks into this folder. And again, you can do it two ways. You can click Move, and it'll move it for you, or you can drag it. The dragging is definitely a little finicky, so if your computer's being funky, just use the little gear. Okay, so now I've got all of my previous weeks in one folder. Every Sunday night, you are going to move the previous week to the previous week's folder so that all that is on this, all that is in this folder titled Continuous Learning is the current week and a folder titled Previous Weeks. If you have a folder like mine called with some resources that students always need access to, like ours independent reading resources, that's fine if you maybe have one other folder, but we're going to try to keep this folder really clean. Okay, so now we're going to come back to this week's folder. And notice that I have mine titled Week 4, April 6th to the 10th. So we're now doing this for the foreseeable future. So we're not going to title the weeks any longer. We're going to try to keep consistent language even for the name of the week. So each week should be titled just the dates. So my week is titled April 6th to the 10th. This was last week. And then underneath that, what you're going to do is you're going to create a checklist of just a really simple short checklist of what you want students to do that week. So I have 4 things that I want students to do. This was for this last week, but I have 4 things that I want students to do. I want them to read for 40 to 60 minutes. I want them to do activity 1, activity 2, and this quick reading response poem assignment. This checklist should be super, super, super simple. Please do not write paragraph descriptions. Students will not read paragraphs of description. You need to keep this really, really, really short and simple so that students and families are quickly able to create a list of what they need to get done that week. I want you to notice that I have these funny checklists, and I know all of you are going to ask how to create these. You can certainly do like a just do number like goals for this week. That's totally fine. It's not going to be any different for families. But if you do want this funny checklist, all you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to search for a check mark. You'll find an image that you like. Like I could even do this green one if I want. I'm going to copy that image and I'm going to paste that image here. Did that work? Okay, so if pasting does not work, sometimes in Schoology it doesn't work. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to save the image as. I'm just going to save it to my desktop as download. And then in here, I can click Insert Content here, Image, Attach a File. I'm going to grab my little check mark. And then I can make this check mark smaller. I can either minimize it like this, or I can click on this little image. And one tip, super helpful tip for Schoology, if you change the size of dimensions, if you change just the first number and not the second, it'll like automatically make it correct for you. So here's like a really small check mark. Okay, I do have that weird line at the bottom. But what I can do then once I have that check mark, I can just copy and paste it 4 times. So if you want to do the check marks, you can certainly do it that way, or you can just do the numbers. Okay, either is fine. Okay, so here is what your folder titled Continuous Learning should look like. You may have like one additional folder that has resources that students are going to access all the time. You'll have a folder titled Previous Weeks. You're going to move the previous week to that folder every single Sunday night. And then you'll have a folder titled that week's dates with a super simple checklist with the goals for that week. Okay. Go and restructure your Schoology course so that it looks exactly like this.